Welcome to Just Cook It Radio, where delicious recipes and real cooking lead to amazing dishes. We cook, you listen. It works. With your hosts, Chef Mario Pareca and Bill Alexander.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're listening to Just Cook It on the Just Cook It Radio Network, and you can watch the show at justcookit.tv. I am Mario Pareca alongside Bill Alexander. Across the desk, you just heard him giving you the news, Mike Sackley.
Always professional.
It's going to snow tomorrow.
Well, let's not focus on that.
It's March. It's going to snow tomorrow.
Well, it's more troubling because it's St. Patrick's Day weekend. I mean,
for you.
All my green beer stash, yeah.
You better...
Snow just doesn't go with that.
Yeah,
I mean,
you better stock up, have it ready in the house, just in
never-
case you can't leave.
I have never understood the fascination of green beer. Honestly, because usually it's the cheapest beer they have on tap,
Yes.
and they put green food coloring in it, and it tastes like water with a little bit of alcohol.
Right.
in
Well,
it.
it's not about the taste. It's about an excuse to... It justifies going
If I'm
out
going to
and
drink
drinking
something
it.
that's more of an Irish kick to it, it's going to be a dark lager.
Yeah.
Guinness.
Love it. I love Guinness. I love darker beers.
Wait, I got one that's going to even be better than that for
I'm
you today.
excited to try it. We have a bottle of Shiner Black Lager that Bill Alexander brought this morning.
Bohemian Black Lager.
Bohemian. Is that like the Rhapsody?
Yes, in blue. Yeah.
Do we have- when you open the bottle, does the music come on? We have to start singing along.
Do you have
in a
that
musical?
Can you cue that up for
we
us?
could
so
probably
I crowd-
find a way, yeah.
But we have a lot of things going on right off the top of the show that I want to touch on really quickly. First and foremost, we have home show tickets available still. If you go to the home show, we hope you all do, to come see Bill and I. We're going to be broadcasting live there on Saturday. If you come to the home show and see us without a pass, you're going to have to pay $4 at the gate to get in. If you call now, though, we have free VIP passes that you can win. And again, you can call us with anything you want, but if you call, then you're automatically eligible to win the passes. You don't have to win. We'll give them to you. The number is 855-590-0590. Again, 855-590-0590. Just give us a buzz, and you can have those. Again, those dates, April 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Ross River Ice Garden. You'll hear the commercial play during our breaks. Another thing I want to discuss, Monday I'm returning to Altoona.
Oh, cool.
So I'll be in Altoona on Central PA Live. That video I will post at justcookit.net after I do it. Obviously, you can't do it before because it's not been done yet, unless we have time travel.
I think it's really funny. You and I have talked about you going back out that way again, and you said you were going to wait until March because the weather would get better.
Right.
And what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Hopefully for you, the storm stays south and doesn't go.
You never know in Altoona. I mean, there were times where, that area is just so,
Yeah.
when the weather-wise, it's so iffy. There are times when I'd be coming back from Wilkes-Barre, and the weather would be beautiful, 40 degrees, and then as soon as you hit the Evansburg-Altoona area, you'd get dumped on. And
Snow?
it would just be off. Then as soon as you get through there, it's beautiful again. So you just never know. That's why I like to wait through the winter months to go back there, but it doesn't seem like it's cooperating.
Hey, one thing real quick, too, is we're doing some early show housekeeping. If you're listening to the show anywhere, but not Saturday mornings when the program airs live at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, you can listen to us live every Saturday by going to yourlocalstation.com, and the player will come up at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. You'll be able to hear us, and you can actually call in and participate in the show.
Please do.
Yes,
We encourage that sort of thing.
So that way you can be part of the hootenanny that we have here on Saturday morning and have some fun with us.
Mike Sackley's favorite thing in the world is answering phones.
That and
just so everyone knows.
and having a hootenanny too.
Yeah, help Mike Sackley. Give him something to do this morning.
Well, Mike is going through withdrawal since basketball season's over.
Yes.
I mean, he's
tell.
actually awake this morning. Did you notice that?
I did.
He's not sitting there with glazed over eyes, and he's awake. I'm
Normally, he
impressed.
puts his feet up on the desk and says, "Wake me up when this commercial's over."
That or when you're going to feed me.
Mike.
Yeah.
But we have me going back to Altoona. We have the home show coming up, which is very exciting. We'll have more after this week. We have a meeting. We'll have more information about the Celebrity Chef Cook-Off, which Bill and I are participating in again. And we'd like to get as many people there as possible to come say hi and try our food.
And we want to win.
And we want to win.
We want to win. I'm
Yes.
sorry, I'm not a competitive person, but after last year, I want to win.
So, yeah,
And we don't have
you can help us do
and
that.
I found out that the guys from Going Live aren't going to be there, so there's two less that we have to compete against.
There you go.
They have to be somewhere else.
So if you're
that
a
night.
supporter, if you were a supporter of going live, their table last year, defect to our side for this year, and then we should be all good. Another thing we have to talk about is, Bill, you brought this in.
Yes.
We actually got an email over the last week. We did in the past craft spaghetti on the air, which was an interesting experience.
It was
actually
good.
very good. Yeah, I was surprised. That's the first time I've ever had it. And we had a listener write into us and ask us about Kraft used to make a pizza kit. Well, we did some research. Unfortunately, Kraft no longer makes the pizza kit.
Well, I don't know that for a fact. I'm just having problems finding it. Yeah. I think if I look a little bit harder, I might be able to find it.
If you
somewhere.
find it from all indications I saw, it points to
looks
they
like
don't
they
produce it
discontinued
anymore.
it, but
Chef Boyardee does make one, and we have one right here, and I'll show the camera. We're not going to make this today, but we will make it in the future and within the next few weeks.
I thought that's why this pizza tin was here.
Today is St. Patrick's Day. Today's not St. Patrick's Day, but we're going to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Monday's actually the real St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
But today we're going to celebrate St. Patrick's Day on the show, and we're going to make some Irish soda bread.
What is Irish soda bread?
Well, Irish soda bread is a quick bread, and it's made. What makes it soda bread is instead of using yeast to leaven it, you use baking soda. And baking soda, and the traditional way to make it is to use buttermilk, which we have here, and the lactic acid from the buttermilk combines with the baking soda to create carbon dioxide.
Interesting.
And carbon dioxide, as it bakes, forms tiny little bubbles, which makes the bread leaven.
Can I sing Tiny Bubbles when it does it?
Yes.
Please, thank you.
Please do. I encourage that. But so that's what Irish soda bread is. Now, there's all different types of soda bread. The Irish version, we're going to actually, and I'll explain more as we get into making it, but you know that I'm not much of a baker.
Yes, I know that.
And bread is one of those things. I had to take a whole baking class in college, and making breads is one of the things that deterred me from liking, because I just don't have the patience for it, to be honest. Not that I couldn't do it, I just don't have the patience.
It takes too long, yeah.
Yeah, you have to make the dough, then you have to let it rise, then you have to punch it down, and you have to proof it, and you have to let it rise again. It's like a whole day process. And for, the people who love doing that, the bakers who make really good artisanal breads, that's what they love. Yeah. That's like their thing, and which is great because I love to eat it. I just don't have the patience to make it. So the thing I love about Irish soda bread is you don't have to knead it. You don't have to let it rise. You don't have to. It's just boom. And to show you, to prove how easy it is to make and how quick it is. Normally, if you watch us on TV, you see this. When I come into studio, I have all my ingredients pre-measured in little bowls, and all I have to do is mix and ready to go. Well, today I'm going to measure live.
Wow.
I have everything in the container.
He's going without a net today,
this is crazy.
Guys. I mean,
I'm nervous.
Something could happen, so you better call your friends and tell them to tune in right now.
He's being serious, by the way. But all the ingredients that we have here are exactly the way that I would pull them out of my cabinet at home. Okay? So I'm going to actually measure each ingredient as we go, and I'm going to show you how easy this is to actually put together and to make. And it's really, really a delicious bread that you don't have to only make around this time of the year. You can make it all year round. Yeah. And the thing about it is you can put really anything in it you want, like garnish-wise. We're going to use dried currants and orange zest, just because I think those flavors go really well. But you can use raisins. You can use any type of nut you like. You can even put butter in it if you want it richer. And some recipes call for eggs. But the one we're going to make today is the really traditional, straightforward Irish soda bread. I wanted to keep it as traditional and as possible. I added a little bit of flavor because if you make it just the white variety, the super traditional variety, all it's going to have in it is flour, baking soda, salt, and buttermilk. Okay. And it's going to be it's still good bread, but it's going to be a little on the bland side, almost like white bread.
But without that, like a cracker, not as thin.
It's no. It's gonna be a bread.
Oh, bread. Okay.
But it's gonna be a little more dense.
I got you.
Than the actual yeast. You know when you cut white? No, I don't want to say white bread, but think about when you buy like a loaf of bread at the supermarket. Not the sandwich bread, but like a loaf of French bread.
Right. Okay.
And you cut it, and there's all those holes in it.
Yes.
When you look at the white part, well, this isn't gonna have as many holes because the like I said, it's leavened from the carbon dioxide from the baking soda reacting with the liquid, and so it's gonna those holes or those pockets of air are gonna be much tinier.
So why not yeast? Why is there no yeast in this?
It's the way it's made.
You didn't do any research on it? Why they didn't use yeast?
Well, back in the day, I mean, yeast was something that was kind of hard to come by way back when. And this is a really, like I said, it's a quick bread. It's something you can make really quickly with ingredients that are just laying around. So it's really become it's almost like a very convenient food. Okay. And something, it is leavened, which is interesting, but it's leavened with baking soda instead of with yeast.
Interesting. So,
So, Mike, what do you think?
What?
You're
See, we
lost.
told-
Mike's like, where's
maybe we
the
are wrong.
food? Where's the food?
We're.
So-
Hey, one thing real quick before you start this, actually, while you start this, I had something yesterday that I've never had before. And I think we mentioned it on the show. And I never understood why anybody would drink it, but I had almond milk for the first time yesterday.
Yeah, I like almond milk.
And I'm looking at the calories of the almond milk because we talked about fat content and everything else. Almond milk and skim milk are very close in the breakdown. What is this big push with going towards almond milk now?
Almond milk is dairy free. That's the big thing.
Okay, so people that are having lactose issues and
so that's a big thing. Another thing is almond milk has a lot has more protein.
Okay.
And less sugar. Milk's a very high sugar food.
Okay.
Almond milk has less sugar unless you buy they do make it sweetened. So if you get the sweetened variety, it's going to have more sugar, obviously. If you get like vanilla almond milk or sweetened almond milk. But if you get the straightforward regular almond milk, it's going to be higher in protein, lower in sugar, no dairy, and it actually doesn't taste bad.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I like it.
As my wife and I both tried it last night, the comment was, it tastes like when you put the milk on your cereal.
Yeah, and it's much better for you even than rice milk because that's the
Is it
other
really?
one. The other one is rice milk, but rice milk again, almond is a nut obviously, and rice is a grain.
Right.
So rice is a little higher in much higher in the glycemic index and has more sugar because unless you get brown rice milk, it's a simple sugar.
They make a brown rice milk?
Yep.
Oh, I'll be darned. I think we should get the people from Blue Almond on, or Blue Diamond Almonds on, to talk about it. Because
another thing,
it was really interesting
almond
to try
milk
it.
is much better for you than soy milk even. And a lot of people who don't do dairy tend to gravitate towards soy milk, and a lot of people think soy is a health food, and it's not. Soy is really not good for you because 95% of soy is GMO.
Right.
And not only that, soy actually, there's been studies done that it says that soy raises your estrogen levels, even in men. So, unless you want to grow some
new features.
Yeah. I would tend to stay away from the soy.
But what's really interesting about that is that I've never had it before, and I finally tried it, and it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. So, again, this has been paid to you by the Almond Milk Board. Thank you. So right now he's measuring flour in his measuring cup.
And this is cake flour, by the way, because the reason we're using cake flour, and I know it seems like I use a lot of cake flour, but in Irish flours generally are made with softer wheat. They grow more softer wheat in Ireland than they do the other wheat. So this is the closest thing you're going to get to Irish flour. You can use all-purpose flour, and it'll come out just fine. But like I said, I want to stick traditional. And here's a tip I learned from someone, and that's why I like to do the show, because not only do I get to do this, but I learn a lot of things too from callers and from people. If you want to make cake flour at home, if you don't buy it, a way to make it that I learned is, for every cup of all-purpose flour, you remove 2 tablespoons and you replace it with 2 tablespoons of cornstarch.
Oh, interesting.
And it'll make cake flour at home.
So for every cup, remove 2 tablespoons and add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch.
Yes.
Cornstarch. Interesting. I would never know that. So you just put 3 cups of...
Yeah, so we're going to use 3.5 cups altogether of cake flour.
And for those of you that are watching it on TV right now, he's making a mess.
Oh, that's the fun of it.
Just to let you know. But I'm not sifting anything today.
We're not going to sift today.
I'm so crushed. I enjoy sifting.
Well, if I would have known that, I would have let you sift
That was my highlight of the day, was sifting. But heck, there that goes.
Bill is a professional sifter.
Yes, I am. I've gone to school for sifting.
He's also a big bull sifter.
Why don't we take our first break right now after we recuperate from that?
Okay. So we got our flour measured, again, 3.5 cups. When we come back, I'm going to show you how to put the rest of this Irish soda bread together, so you're not going to want to miss it. Don't touch that radio dial. We'll have more Just Cook It coming right at you right here on the Just Cook It Radio Network.
Phil Genetti Motors at 656 National Pike East in Brownsville is a proud sponsor of programming on FCTV. Phil Genetti Motors providing quality vehicles for 45 years. If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, give Phil Genetti's a call at 724-785-6800 or stop by their website, philgenettymotors.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Just Cook It right here on the Just Cook It Radio Network, and you can watch us at justcookit.tv. I am Mario Pareca here with Bill Alexander and Mike Sackley.
And if you figure out why I'm roaming around the studio, that's so you can watch us on justcookit.tv, as we have to
Much obliged to Bill for that.
segment everything, so we are able to put it on YouTube and on TV much easier than a straight run through. So anyhow,
It's a time saver.
you think?
Oh, I know.
For some people.
Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Yes.
But we've come a long way on the TV end, because it used to be just a one camera.
Oh, we've gone to three
now. We've
now.
got 3 cameras here.
Did you watch last week? Did you watch last week's show?
I did.
Did you like that?
It was awesome.
Wasn't that good?
Do we have a truck director in the truck?
No,
doing
I'm
the
sitting
show?
here.
You're the director.
Like the
Director.
during the pirate games, they call them the gypsies.
Yeah.
The gypsies, yeah.
We'll have to get someone to sit outside in the truck. If you want to volunteer to sit outside in a truck,
Not that you'd be doing
Right.
anything. You could just sit out the
you
window.
don't have to do anything. Just sit out there and we'll wave to you and you wave back, and it's a lot of fun.
Someone asked me the other day, we were doing a TV for something else, and they said, so you edit that live while you're on the air? And I'm going, wait, co-host?
Yeah, he wears many hats.
Yeah, no, there's
He
no
wears
way of
many
doing it
hats.
live.
So what we did before break, we're making Irish soda bread today for St. Patrick's Day. And what we did before break was we measured out our flour. We've got 3.5 cups of cake flour in this beautiful bowl I have in front of me. And what we're going to do to this now is we're going to take baking soda right here. We've got 1 teaspoon of baking soda I'm going to measure.
I'm going to ask a dumb question.
Okay.
But when you use stuff like this, why do they not make the containers easier to use?
I've often asked
I
myself
mean,
that
because
same question.
baking powder at least comes in a can.
Yes.
And it's easier to scoop because you take the lid off. But baking soda comes in a stupid little box.
Yeah, and it only has one little
One
hole in
little
the side.
opening in it.
Yeah, it's not fun to mess with.
And I
but-
noticed this is not the national name brand baking soda
No,
you're using.
this actually comes from Whole Foods.
Is this organic?
Yes. Well, it's not really organic, but it's as close to organic as you can get with baking soda.
How would you make it? Bakes, cleans, and freshens.
There you go.
How do you get
And now, as Bill reads, he'll read the box.
sodium bicarbonate? Is all it is.
Yeah, that's
But
all baking
what
soda
would,
is.
But what would make it organic or not?
It's just a cleaner facility.
I think
made
you're
a little
buying this
differently.
marketing gimmick that these people are using on you.
I like it.
Okay, I
I
think-
like their
I-
gimmicks.
I think-
See, I use a lot of marketing gimmicks myself, so I'm a big supporter of marketing
You're
gimmicks.
sucked into
If
it.
you have a marketing gimmick that you would like me to support, call us at 855-590-0590. Again, 855-590-0590.
It may not even work, but he'll buy it.
Yeah, just pitch me the stupidest thing you can think of. Give me some benefits.
Our version of Shark Tank.
Yeah, and I'll tell you whether I'm going to invest or not. It's that simple, because I'm into the gimmick. I have so many gimmicks that I use, mostly for your
your enjoyment.
benefit and your enjoyment.
But I thought about that because I've been hearing Whole Foods, and I'm going. But how much of Whole Foods is organic or GMO? Because we talked about that a few weeks ago.
Right.
That the whole milk thing is what blew this thing out of proportion. That certain foods may be organic, but it still may have GMOs, and vice versa.
You be careful, you do your homework.
And it depends on what that definition is that you use.
You really got to do your homework. It depends on what the definition of is.
That's
right?
exactly right. So
what we're going to do at this point, I've added a teaspoon of baking soda and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, to our flour. I'm going to give it just a little mix to kind of combine all this stuff. This is really tough stuff, you can see.
no tossing today
Okay?
either. I'm so
just
bummed.
going to kind of, no tossing, no sifting.
No sifting. I'm just sitting
Oh,
here
man.
twiddling my thumbs.
Mike's sleeping. Okay, so now we got this all mixed together. Now what I have here, and this is the tricky part, as I use air quotes, tricky, if there is a tricky
Is that
part
like
to this.
hashtag?
Yeah, exactly. That's your thing.
Hashtag just cook it.
In this measuring cup, I have 1.5 cups of buttermilk. Now, I'm not. If you look at the recipe, which is posted at justcookit.net, you can see that it says in the ingredient list about 1.5 cups of buttermilk, because you may use it all, you may not use it all, depending on the time of the year, the humidity, all that fun stuff. What you have to do is you really have to go by feel.
Okay.
You don't want it to be too wet. You don't want it to be too dry. So you add a little bit at a time. You work it in. You add a little bit more. You work it in. If you use it all, great.
If
you
not,
don't, then you
now,
pour it back in the container.
If
and
you
have
need,
some left
but
over.
if you need more, you can get more, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, as many times I've made this recipe, I've never had to go get more.
Okay.
I usually have a little left over.
Okay.
Okay, so what I like to do is add roughly 1/2 cup of this buttermilk to start, right to our flour.
Now, buttermilk is milk just with the butter fat left?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can actually make buttermilk if you use milk and vinegar.
I was
know
gonna
a lot
ask
of people who have done
Well,
that.
I know people that have done it, made
Buttermilk's
sour.
cultured a little too, almost like yogurt.
Right.
So you can make it.
Could you
sour.
use yogurt in this?
Absolutely. There's recipes that call for yogurt.
Really?
That you can even use beer. You can use a stout.
Wait, no, never mind.
Oh.
Why waste it? Why waste it?
Again, I wanted to stay as traditional as possible
Right.
with this recipe. So I added a little bit. Now you can see how it's starting to clump, the flour. And at this point, what we're going to do is I'm going to add, I have some dried currants here.
And what is a
Okay?
currant?
A currant is actually a type of berry, but the dried currants, so if you look at this this box, it says Zante currant, Z-A-N-T-E.
Yes.
What they are is it's a type of small seedless grape that they
Okay.
dry, and once they're dry, they call them currants.
Okay.
So we're going to take 3/4 of a cup
Are these
of
organic?
these dried little currants. No.
They're natural.
Did you see that video I posted about natural?
Yes.
On Facebook? Was that not hilarious?
That was funny.
You'll have to check it out. It's on Facebook.
But yeah, and you need to share that again on the website. But that's one of these things that we look at these words of natural, organic, GMO free, and do we really know what we're getting, or are we just trusting them?
The thing about natural is they can put it on pretty much anything.
Right.
And you
This
saw
is a
it, so
natural
you-
pizza kit. Did you know that?
I'm sure there's a lot of natural ingredients in there.
Natural in there. I mean,
So, currants, we're going to add those in. There's half a cup there, and we're going to put another, we're going to 3/4 of a cup all together. Now, it's one thing you can do with your currants, and I'm going to do this after I add them in. I like to toss them with a little bit of flour.
why is that?
If you're working with a batter, like say you're making muffins, okay? And you're working with a batter. Say you're making blueberry muffins. If you put your blueberries in your muffin batter
Yes.
without flouring them, they're all going to sink to
They
the
get
bottom.
sticky, yeah.
So if you toss them with flour, they'll actually stick in there and they'll be distributed more evenly.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
now,
interesting.
for something like a dough like this, is it necessary? Probably not, but better safe than sorry. You're
Okay.
talking about like 1/8 of a teaspoon of flour. So
Huh.
give them a toss. It'll help them stay.
And it coats them, basically, is what you're
Coats
doing.
them, and it'll help them distribute throughout your dough.
Huh,
evenly.
that's interesting. I would have never thought of that.
Yeah. So we're gonna add. So pull them. Do you want to taste one of these little? They won't hurt you
I don't think I've ever.
unless you're allergic to grapes.
Boy, they're small.
Raisins. Yeah.
No, they taste like raisins.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to say that, since they're not raisins.
They're
They're currants.
Zante currants.
Now, can you rehydrate those if you
Absolutely.
need to?
You can
Serious?
rehydrate anything that's dried.
Can you really? What would you have to do to rehydrate those?
Just put them in a warm liquid. and
Okay.
Let them sit, and they'll just absorb it.
and then they'll look. Well,
They'll
that's
plump
cool.
back up. Yep.
That's a
You can
cool.
do it
That's
with-
a cool thing to do with kids on a very snow and cold day.
Yeah, you can do it with apricots, raisins, anything dried.
There you go, Mike. When you have nothing to do tonight, you go get a box of currants
And
or raisins and
the fun thing
with the green beer.
you know,
and reconstitute them.
fun thing to do is, Mike, right up your alley. You can reconstitute them with different liquors.
Ooh.
So you can use like cognac or
Yeah, I heard
scotch
about
or
that.
brandy or whatever
Oh.
you like. Brandy's really good with this, like an Applejack brandy.
You're giving me a lot of
stuff.
terrible ideas here, which is great.
Terrible ideas. They're brilliant ideas.
Yeah.
Terribly
I'm gonna add a little bit of
devastating
flour on
consequences.
top of here, just to.
So could you have taken a bowl and put the flour in, and then put the currants
Yeah,
in,
that's
stir them
usually-
up,
that's
and then
usually what I
then
do.
mix it in?
But for space sake, here
Yeah.
I'm gonna do them right here.
We're still waiting for that kitchen to come in.
Yeah, is it on order yet?
From what we understand, Von Benko's made arrangements for us, so we're waiting to see what happens. But no, he's
Come on,
in
George.
Bradenton.
Yeah, he's too busy for us right now.
Yeah.
So we just give this a little toss, and then we'll just kind of fold these in. What else I'm going to add to this at this point, as we toss in our currants, some orange here, an orange here, and I'm going to do the zest of one
Wait,
orange.
what happened to the little rake we had last week?
Well, I want this to be a little finer,
Okay.
so I'm just going to use a box grater
It
here.
was just
works
okay
fine.
last week. It wasn't fine.
Yeah, yeah. Ha, ha, ha.
Sorry.
One of my favorite tools, which I seem to misplace mine at the moment, is called a microplane. So
Okay.
if you go to even the grocery store should have them, or generally kitchen stores,
Yeah.
big superstores will have them. They're only a couple bucks. It's called a microplane, and it's for zesting, and it's also you can grate cheese with it, but it makes it really, really fine. So it's just a long thing that kind of looks like this with much smaller holes. Kind of looks like a cheese grater with much smaller holes
Okay.
and a handle, and you just grate the fruit or the cheese or whatever across the top of it, and it makes a really fine grate. And that's just great.
Yeah. So I never realized that you can eat the peel of the orange.
Yeah,
if it's
there's
cut
more
down.
flavor
And you
in
can
the
do that
zest.
for lemon and lime too.
Absolutely.
I never.
Yeah, the zest there's a ton of flavor in the zest, and the essential oils are all there.
Yeah.
But now, right underneath the zest, if you notice, and most of you who've peeled oranges before, you see this white part here.
Yes.
It's called the pith. You don't want to use that.
Why
That's
not?
very bitter.
Okay.
But the outer part here that's actually orange or green on a lime or yellow on a lemon has a ton of flavor.
Okay.
The essential oils, the flavor.
Could you do the same thing with the grapefruit too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're just going to keep one orange. We'll do this whole loaf of bread.
Riveting TV right now and radio.
I'm fascinated.
Aren't you?
I mean, this is the most exciting thing I've seen all morning right here.
Don't grate your finger. Okay, so we got our orange zest in there. You just got to keep going around till you get it all in. Scrape it off.
And don't go to the pith.
Don't go to the pith. No pith.
No pith.
It'll really pith me off.
I'm gonna say he's really working it today.
Yes, he is.
He's on the edge.
Yes,
I'm testing the bounds.
he's pushing that envelope. I'm kind of worried about what our friends are going to say at WVHO and Nantico.
Although whatever was inferenced, I did not say anything
Oh, I know. No, I know. We're just messing
harassing
around.
me.
Harassing you.
Harassing him on the air.
Harassment in the workplace. I don't have to take it. Okay, anyway.
There's the door.
We've got our orange zest. Bill, can you finish this recipe if I leave?
No, but I can open that up.
So we're changing plans. So we've got...
Remember, I've walked out on a few stations before, but
By the way,
on the air.
On the air. Just goes silent. Mike doesn't know what to do.
Oh my!
All right, so
No,
we're
I
gonna
think
add...
Mike could handle it from there.
Oh, yeah.
I might walk out with you.
Mike's a radio pro. So we've got some... We're going to add...
Whenever the ship starts sinking, just everybody leaves. That's it, yeah.
Just can't take it anymore. I just give up. So we added our orange zest and our currants, and now we're slowly adding the rest of our buttermilk.
Okay.
So we're going to just mix, and this is going to actually feel a little wet, like a wetter dough.
Yes.
But that's okay.
And it looks like a dough right now is what it
it's
looks
getting
like.
there.
It's getting there.
Coming together. So I'm going to start using my hands here, and this is where it's going to get really fun and really messy.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so Bill, I'm going to put you on paper towel duty.
Ooh, I get to hold the paper
So
towel.
when I get really messy,
Is there a certain way I need to hold it? Like this, or?
You can just hand me a paper
Like,
towel
oh,
when I get really messy.
Darn, you take all the fun out of it.
I didn't mean to be an actual paper towel holder like I have in my kitchen. I'm going to stand up here. So we're going to add a little more buttermilk.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're doing is we're just trying to get the right consistency here. And you can always, don't fret. If it gets a little too wet, say you slip and you accidentally add too much buttermilk, you can always
more
add a little flour. Yeah.
Now, why can't you use all-purpose flour in this?
You can.
You can.
Yeah. The only reason, like I said, I use cake flour is because most of the flour in Ireland comes from softer wheat, and the most comparable thing to the flour they would have there is cake flour.
Okay.
So, and it's being that it's St. Patty's Day.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
But yeah, absolutely, you can use all-purpose flour. Now, one thing I will caution, if you use all-purpose flour, you have to be a little more careful with how much you work the dough and how much you need it. The more you need, the more gluten you're going to develop. Cake flour, you don't have to be as concerned because there's less gluten in cake flour.
Okay, gotcha.
And you don't want the bread to be tough. So see, now we're starting to get a nice... Now, when it starts to form a ball of dough like this, we're actually going to take it out and put it on our board.
And if you're wondering what the squeaking is in the background, that's the mic stand shaking.
That's the caged animal in the corner that once fed. No.
That's me, actually.
That's Mike.
I'm the animal.
Mike's really hungry. So we've got our dough. Do we get a call?
Caller wants to know if you can sift while... I'm trying to see if I got this right. Sift while you are avoiding the pith. Is that right?
The pith?
Yeah.
Sift?
Sift while you avoid the pith.
That's good. Sifting is... do you mean zest while you avoid the pith?
Right,
Is that
yeah.
what you're saying?
I guess,
you
yeah.
can zest. You just... The key is to just not zest too deep.
Right.
Okay, so you run the orange or the citrus fruit, whatever you're using, across your zester, and you just run it across like one time on each spot. You don't go back and keep working it down because the pith is what's right under the zest. So once you get that zest and you start to see that white, you move on to another part of the fruit. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so we got this dough ball here. I'm going to go right to I'm going to put a little flour down here.
And while he does that, don't forget we have home show tickets to give away. That give us a call at 1-855-590-0590 and pick up passes to the home show, which is coming up the 4th, 5th, and the 6th.
So I'm going to lightly knead this dough.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Just put it off to the side. Bill, just hold the ball.
I'm having a conversation, and you hand me a bowl.
That's what I like to do. I wait till people are occupied, and I just hand them stuff.
Have you ever seen our cooking demos on TV? That's what he does.
Oh, hey. That's me.
We haven't done one of those in a while, have we?
No, we have to. I don't think they like us on Going Live
I was going to say, what did you do?
A lot of things. Where should I begin? So we've got our dough, and now it's a nice...
It looks like a dough ball.
Yeah, and we're just going to kind of form it into a ball.
Okay.
Okay, so... At this point, I'm going to show the camera.
Yeah.
When you get it to about this size.
Okay.
Okay. How big would you say that is, Bill? Use your give us some measurements.
It's about the size of a softball flattened.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good analogy. Size of a softball flattened. You want to kind of, if it cracks a little on the top, it's really not a big deal because it's going to crack a little more as it bakes. Now, here's the trick. In front of you, Bill, you have a baking sheet, and it's got a sheet of parchment on it.
Yes.
Okay. Now you don't need the parchment there, but I like it because it helps with cleanup.
And it doesn't stick.
Yeah, so Bill, what I'm going to ask you to do is take a little bit of this flour, you can just spoon right there, and just lightly dust the parchment. And that's going to, again, help it not to stick. So instead of spraying it, instead of buttering it, a little more traditional method is we're just going to lightly flour the parchment or the pan. You don't have to use parchment, okay? That's not part of the recipe. I just use it because it keeps things a little neater. And now what we're going to do is...
Does that work?
Perfect. We are going to put our bread
Okay.
right onto our floured parchment. Nice job, Bill. You're flouring king.
Hey, I can sift.
You can flour.
And I can flour.
And now, here's the real key. What we're going to do is we're going to take a knife, okay? And we're just going to cut across in the center of this.
Why?
What it's going to do is it's going to allow it to expand as it bakes.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually going to come across. So most things say X, most recipes, so you can cut an X, but since it's St. Patrick's Day, and it's a little religious, I'm going to do a cross.
Cross instead.
Okay? And you cut it right across the top of the bread, and you go all the way almost to the edge, about an inch deep, I would say. Okay? And then at this point, so you can see what that looks like.
Yeah.
That's your bread. So at this point, you would take this and go right in the oven. 425 degrees, and I found that 40 minutes in my oven
is good.
Gets it perfect. So you want it to be golden brown on the top, and the real way to tell if it's done is you flip it over and you kind of thump the bottom of it. If it sounds hollow when you tap the bottom of it, it's done.
Okay. That
makes it. That's how you know it's cooked all the way to the center.
If you get a thud, though, it's not.
Right. If it feels like it's still heavy in the center,
Okay.
or there's still a mass in the center,
Gotcha.
not done because there's still dough there.
Okay.
So at this point, now that our bread's ready to go into our oven, we're going to take our final break.
Sure, why not?
And then when we get back, we'll start cutting some bread, tasting some bread, some Irish soda bread for St. Patrick's Day. So again, stay with us right here on Just Cook It Radio. We'll be back right after these messages on the Just Cook It Radio Network.
Phil Genetti Motors at 656 National Pike East in Brownsville is a proud sponsor of programming on FCTV. Phil Genetti Motors providing quality vehicles for 45 years. If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, give Phil Genetti's a call at 724-785-6800 or stop by their website, philgenettymotors.com.
Welcome back to Just Cook It Radio and Just Cook It TV on the Just Cook It Radio-TV network. How's that sound?
That sounds really nice.
Well, as you can see on TV, Mario has pulled it out of our magic radio oven.
We do have a magic radio oven. Not
Yes.
just not anyone can get a magic radio oven.
That's right.
We're very privileged.
We got that magic radio oven.
Yes.
And we have it. That this
You
is
can
what the soda bread
And
looks
so
like.
you can see how it expanded.
Yes.
This is where it was cut, and you can see how it expanded when it baked. And it's brown, but it's not like brown, not like a dark brown.
And if you were here, it smells wonderful. It really
And
does.
the reason that it doesn't get as brown is because there's no eggs and there's no sugar.
Okay.
Those are typically what makes breads brown.
Okay.
And there's no egg. We didn't add any extra. Really, all the sugar that comes from is from these currants that are in the bread.
I'll be darned.
But It'll still get a little brown on the outside, as you can see, and you can actually find recipes for soda bread that do have sugar, that does have sugar, does have eggs, does have butter, but again, this is super traditional, and you saw how easy this was.
Yeah, that was easy. And right now we have a phone call, and we have Joyce from Uniontown.
And as Joyce talks, I'm going to cut this bread.
Go ahead. Hey, Joyce, how you doing this morning?
Pretty good.
That's great.
I'm not a big-time baker, but I do like to try different things sometimes. On the end part where he says that you dust the parchment paper and put the bread on the parchment.
Yes.
Okay, do you put that in any kind of a pan?
Oh, yeah, it's on a sheet pan.
Oh, on a sheet pan, like a cookie sheet.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you put your parchment, or you can just bake it right on the floured cookie sheet if you like. I just use the parchment because it keeps it a little cleaner.
Right.
When you pull it out of the oven, you can just, and what you want to do is when you pull your bread out of the oven, you want to put it on a rack and let it cool. And, I like to eat it warm, but you should really let it cool. And then you can just, take your parchment, throw it away, and put your cookie sheet away once it cools. That's what I like to do.
Is it good with just like your butter?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to put some butter on it, and I also have some honey here that you can actually drizzle over the top after you butter it if you like.
Okay. We'll try it. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And if you'd like to call in, you can. It's 1-855-590-0590. Another thing is we have an apology to go out from last week's show. Rose, we're sorry. We forgot to tell you what you asked about last week. Most of you know that I have an affinity for Shiner beer that's brewed in Shiner, Texas by the Spotsville Brewery. And Rose last week asked us off air what would be a best one to try, and it would be the Bach. It's the yellow label. But today in studio, since it is St. Patrick's Day,
yes,
I have the Bohemian Black Lager.
Oh. Love that
which,
stuff.
As I open this up...
I'm really excited to try that. I love dark beer. Guinness is one of my favorite beers.
Smell that.
Oh, my. I just want to drink that whole bottle right now. Mike's lunging over the desk.
I will.
So Mike, do you want yours buttered?
Yeah, I'll take some.
Do you want some honey on it or just butter?
Who do both?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not?
That's one of my favorites.
All right, beer me, Bill.
Beer and bread.
Beer?
Beer is like liquid bread, so this is like a double.
Well, this is where the yeast is.
That's right. There you go. So we do still have yeast.
We still have yeast this morning.
It's not in the bread, but...
There we go.
So do you want to take a picture of it, or do you want to put it up onto the camera before we...
I'll take a picture of it, and then we'll do the...
So you can tweet it.
Hashtag.
Hashtag.
Yes, thank you, Eric O'Brien, for doing that, which I found out he stole that from Jimmy Fallon. So...
Oh, and by the way, I want to mention one other thing, or two other things, actually, while I'm buttering this bread, while I butter your bread. Number one, I was at 4th Street Barbecue yesterday.
Yes.
Helped them out with lunch. Their new fish sandwich is awesome, and it's huge. So if you're a big fan of fish sandwiches...
So when are we going to do fish sandwiches in the studio? You've been toying with me about doing that.
I want to do them. I'm just afraid that we'll make the whole studio smell like fried fish for the rest of the
I
weekend.
don't think Mike would mind.
Nothing wrong with that.
Okay, so we'll have to do that one of these, either next week or the week after. But what I want to tell people is I'll be back at 4th Street Barbecue next Friday during lunch. So if you want to see me, stop in, grab a fish sandwich. They're huge. They're delicious. They're the best fish sandwich in the area, in my opinion. So stop on in, get a fish sandwich. You won't be disappointed. Another thing that I wanted to mention, which just slipped my mind. Oh, the YoPlay question and answer we did last week on the show.
Yeah.
We didn't get through all the questions. There were still 5 more, but they are posted at our website at justcookit.net. So if you go to justcookit.net, you can read all of the question and answers that you guys submitted and that we gave to YoPlay Greek, who answered our questions, which were really interesting. So if you want to learn more about Greek yogurt and YoPlay Greek specifically, go to justcookit.net and you can read the full 10 question and answers. And we're going to try this Irish soda bread and this Bohemian, what is it called? Bohemian
Black Lager.
Lager.
That's pretty good.
What do you think? Yeah, it's super simple. It's super traditional. It's not, it's bread. It's got the currants. You taste the orange. I like to put, like I said, butter, and I drizzle some honey on it. And it's just, and you can see the consistency is just a little different than your regular white bread,
Right.
and that's because of the instead of the yeast, using the baking soda.
A great combo right here.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
Well, we talked. He told me what we were making last night. I said, I got to figure out what I got.
Yep, and the dark beer. Yep. What do we have to say?
Prosit.
Prozac.
No, Prosit.
That's good.
Is that
wow,
good?
is that good? It's like the chocolate milk of beers, if you will.
But it is. It's very similar to Guinness.
It's nutty.
Good
it's
lager,
rich,
yeah.
But I like that better than Guinness.
thick. Oh yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
This is good stuff.
And I love dark beer. I mean, I just like the body, the flavor, everything about it, and this is awesome.
I gotta thank you guys for turning me on to Shiner, because that's some good stuff that I probably would have never known about.
What gets me is you went to ASU. Mm-hmm. They sell it there.
They do.
And you never tried it.
Yeah, but I was very bland when I was at ASU.
You bought that cheap college.
Exactly.
Mike didn't start drinking until he started his radio career.
That's like most radio people don't start
Certain
drinking.
things that just drive you to drink.
You just got to forget about what happened that day.
But so the good thing about this bread, what I really like about it is, number one, how easy it is. Super simple, doesn't take long, not many ingredients, and the flavor, to me, and the consistency is just really good. You can tell it's a homemade bread when you eat it, and it's not. It does, unless you add different things to it, it doesn't really have an assertive flavor. If you wanted to use it as more of a savory bread, you could leave out the currants, so it's not as sweet. You could leave out the orange. You could just bake it without anything in it, and you could use it for sandwiches. So I mean,
I guess you could. That would be good.
yeah, it's one of those things that you can do. You can do in different shapes if you like. I mean, I prefer it this way, and you can see we made it from start to finish without anything pre-measured. Right on the radio show, the only thing that takes the most time is actually baking it, and it only takes about 40 minutes. Again, the oven in a 425 degree oven. So that's your Irish soda bread, traditional for St. Paddy's Day. You can make it at home. Enjoy it with a nice dark beer.
Dark lager, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just awesome.
That is fantastic. And we'll be back next week.
Yeah.
What are we going to be talking about?
Whew. Well, you want to do fish?
We
fried
got it,
fish,
but we
so-
also have a celebrity chef cook-off coming off
Yeah,
soon.
and we have the Chef Boyardee pizza we
That's
need to make.
true.
I
I
want
mean,
to
we
try
got a
that.
lot.
I've never had pizza
In a box.
In a box. Well, it gets delivered in a box, but pizza from the
But
grocery store in
I'm
a
thinking,
box.
with the way you tell me your grandfather used to make it, I don't see why you would need to have pizza from a box.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with the spaghetti. When we
Yeah.
did the Kraft spaghetti, that's why I've never heard of it or never had it, because my family
it's for
has
us.
always made...
It's for us faux Italians.
Well, there really is only two types of people:
Yeah.
Italians and people who want to be.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
At least that's what my dad told me growing up. But I want to thank you for listening. Unfortunately, we're out of time again, so make sure you visit us at justcookit.net and get the recipe for our Irish soda bread. Make it for St. Patrick's Day. It's an awesome bread, something you can really celebrate well with a nice dark beer or just by itself.
By itself.
And we'll be back next Saturday at 9 a.m. again with an all-new episode. Any parting words, gentlemen?
See you next week.
Drink up.
There you go. Happy St. Patrick's Day. So for Bill Alexander and Mike Sackley, I'm Mario Pareca. Thank you for listening to Just Cook It. We'll be back with an all-new episode next Saturday at 9 right here on the Just Cook It Radio Network.
Thanks for listening to Just Cook It Radio with Mario Pareca and Bill Alexander. For more information on today's program, visit the Just Cook It website at justcookit.net. Here, you can listen to the podcast or watch Mario and Bill cook today's recipe on Just Cook It TV. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please call 855-590-0590.